Hello guys, welcome back to the PS classes, and today we will be taking forward our previous video that is prologue to the Canterbury Tales, and today we will discuss its characters. So moving on, Geoffrey Chaucer is remembered today for his work The Canterbury Tales. This is what we have read in the last video, and we'll continuing the same fact, and it is true in fact that Geoffrey Chaucer is remembered today for his work The Canterbury Tales, which has more than 17,000 lines and 24 stories. The intention of the prologue to the Canterbury Tales is to take the reader into a journey where every character in the work is described. As we know that the when the prologue starts, it is the month of April, and the lines are: when that April with his showers suit, the drought of March hath purged to the root. So the very first character that is described is the knight. He was involved in crusades and fought battles in many countries. But he is greatly honored for the worthiness and courtesy he shows. He is a man who loved freedom, chivalry, honor, and truth. After the prologue, it is the knight who begins the first tale. He narrates a romantic story of a woman and two knights who fall in love with her. The tale that the knight delivers or says is about Palamon and Archite. So basically, Knight is the first storyteller, as well as he is said to be the best storyteller. He is shown as a paramount of bravery or chivalry, we can say. So, the story of Palamon and Archite is about falling in love with Emily, and this story is basically taken from or inspired from Boccaccio's Tessida, and later on Shakespeare will also take the same reference and write two noble kinsmen, and this will be a dark comedy. This is a dark comedy. Two Noble Kinsmen is a dark comedy, whereas Palamon and Archite is a tragedy. Moving on, next we have his Squire, and Squire is the knight's son. He is a bachelor with lustful heart who is dressed in embroidered clothes. He looks unmanly, yet has passion for playing flute, singing, and is very eager about to be recognized as a man of literature. He narrates the tale of a mysterious knight who comes to the court of Tartary with gifts. So, one very beautiful line is used to describe Squire, that is, he is as fresh as the month of May. The next character is the yeoman. He is a freeborn servant to the knight and travels with him. We need not to get into very deep description of this. I guess this much is enough for yeoman. The next is the prioress, and the real name of the prioress is Madame Eglantine. She is a delicate, sentimental woman. The prioress weeps over any small tragedy, such as the death of a mouse. She attempts to appear refined, but her refinement is superficial. Her tale concerns the murder of a small child at the hands of Jewess who lead the child for singing about the Virgin Mary. So basically, the story is a religious story. The tale is a religious tale. It is about a city dominated by Jews, and the Christians are minorities there. A kid who is shown as the symbol of Christ is singing a hymn that is, O redemptive soul, on the streets. And when Satan hears this, he gets provoked. He uh, goes and signals the, or we can say provokes the Jews against the kid. Then they kill the kid. But even after dying, when his mother finds him, Christ in fact signals the mother that the dead body is in a pit. And when she finds the kid, she sees that the dead body is still singing. I have, and it says, the dead child says, I have been blessed by Virgin Mary, and there is a pearl in his tongue. And it says that monument is made until a monument is made of him, the kid, he will keep singing. So this is all about nun prioress. Yeah, one more important description is to be added to this, that she wore a brooch. Nun prioress wore a brooch in which it was written Amor vincit omnia, which meant love conquers all. So basically, she is a character church person, but religious person, but she is very superficial, very modern. She likes to dress up well. She speaks French, and she is not just like one common prioress. Okay, moving on. The next character in the line is second nun, and the secretary of the prioress. Second nun is the secretary of the prioress. The second nun tells us a story that about the biography of Saint Cecilia. She describes the biography of Saint Cecilia. Moving on, the next character is the monk. He is a robust and masculine man. The monk travels with the prioress and second nun. Next is the friar, that is Hubert. He is an immoral man concerned largely with profit rather than turning man away from sin. His tale is an attack on the wickedness of summoners. Moving on, the next character is the merchant. He is an arrogant man obsessed with profit margins. His story is a comic tale concerning an elderly blind man who takes a young wife who proves unfaithful. The next character is the clerk. The clerk is a student of Oxford, and his lack of an actual profession leaves him impoverished. Although educated, his intellectual pursuits have left him virtually unemployable. He tells a tale of the humble Griselda who marries a man of high status who cruelly tests her devotion to him. So basically, what happens? Clerk of Oxford tells a tale in answer to the tale of Wife of Bath, which we'll be dealing next. So basically, what happens is Clerk of Oxford tells a tale about the patient Griselda who marries to a man, and the man is not really, I mean, he does not believe in women, and to make him believe in her, she is asked to do whatever the husband says. The husband, she has to obey the husband without any question, and she agrees to that. And then what happens that even just after their marriage, when the first baby is born, the husband takes the baby for killing. Then the second, they have a girl, and again he does the same, and she does not ask any question. And after 25 years, around 25 years, he brings back he brings a girl, young girl, and then says that now she is my new wife. And even then she says nothing. And then the man says that I was just testing your patience, and now I trust you. I haven't killed any of our child, and this is our daughter, not my new wife. So after finishing his tale, he says that, have I answered all? I mean, I personally think this is not the way to test somebody's patience. She is nobody to just give test all the time, isn't it? So yeah, moving on. Next we have the man of law. So the lawyer tells a religiously inspired tale concerning Constance, a woman who suffers a number of tragedies, but is at each turn saved by her devotion to her Christian beliefs. We'll not discuss all the uh, all the tales or all the characters in detail because we need not to do so. We'll just be talking about the important ones. Next we have the wife of Bath. So wife of Bath is said to be the first feminist character. She is married 5 times, and that is the reason she is said wife of Bath. Her real name is Ellison. She is also known as Madame Gossip. Her friends call her Madame Gossip because she loves to gossip all the time. She Her description is also a little creepy. So basically, she is described as having a hole or having a gap between her two uh, teeth in front, and they said that it is a symbol of being not, what to say, not pious. So the important details about a wife of Bath we can say is that she is married 5 times, and the fifth husband's name is Jenkin. And what is amazing to know is that she falls in love with Jenkin in the funeral, or we can say in the cremation of her fourth husband's death. When her fourth husband was being cremated, she fell in love with this young man named Jenkin. And the story that she says is about King Arthur's courtier who is accused of raping a noble woman. And King Arthur's wife gives a chance to the man, or we can say courtier, to go find the question that what a woman actually needs. And if he gets an answer, an answer, she will leave, or she will let him leave. Okay, so he goes on searching for the answer, but everybody gives him some different answer, and just about the time his time duration is going to end, he meets a old woman, an old ugly hen, and she says him that I will give you the answer if you marry me. And he agrees. Obviously he do not have an option. It's better to marry an old woman than to die. So he agrees, and then they get married. And after that, the woman asks him that what do you want, an ugly woman who will be loyal to you, or a beautiful wife who will cheat on you? So obviously he says that it's okay, I want an ugly woman who will be loyal to me. And then she gives him the answer to the question what woman really wants, and the answer is complete sovereignty is what a woman needs. And then she becomes a beautiful woman. So all these things are basically said. This is the reason wife of Bath is said to be the first feminist character. She is questioning that what is the need of chastity in a marriage. Yeah, so uh, we have already discussed about Clerk of Oxford who has answered to this question. Okay, moving on, we have the nun priest. So nun priest tells us a story of a rooster and a fox. It is a beast fable, basically. It is a beast fable, and what happens is that we can say that the story is uh, about a rooster whose name is Chantister and a fox whose name is Don Russell. So we not to go to the detail of the story, it is not needed. So these are the main characters, we can say. We have some more characters like the carpenter, the weaver, the dyer, the cook, the shipman, the physician. Okay, so some more important points, let me tell you very quickly. So Miller and Reeve are the two men who tells two vulgar tales. First is the Miller. Miller talks about two young boys seducing the wife of a carpenter. So carpenter or reeve both are same. We can say they are same. So the reeve answering to the miller's tale talks about boy seducing the wife and daughter of miller. So these are the two very vulgar tales. Moving on, we have the parson. Parson is the last storyteller. Who was the first storyteller? The knight. Okay, and parson is the last storyteller. He tells the story in prose form. Okay, he tells a prose sermon in which he says about the seven deadly sins, Satan, hell, heaven. Basically, he talks about all those things. Now we have one more story, one more tale in prose form. So basically, there are 24 stories, from which two are in prose forms. One is of Chaucer and one is of Parson. Okay, so Chaucer says two tales. One is Tale of Melibee and the second is Tale of Sir Thopas. Okay, now Chaucer has praised few characters, four characters basically. One is the parson, then the plowman, then clerk, and the knight. These four are praised by Chaucer in the tale. So yeah, that's all for today. And I don't think we need to go in much more detail of prologue to the Canterbury Tales. Yeah, if we want to talk about different tales in detail, then we can go for that. But even if we think about NetJRF point of view, this much is enough. So if you like the video, then please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I will be uploading video every Sunday or Monday. Thank you for watching.